Hi guys! My name is Sara Erasmo and I'm a freelance photographer and visual artist based in Quezon City. For today, I'll be showing you how to find art in the ordinary, how to photograph your everyday life with just a smartphone. I specialize in still life and portraiture, and my work is all about finding magic and mystery in the mundane. Just a little about me. I've always been a very visual person, and I started taking pictures in high school. In college, I took up information design, and then I graduated and became a professional graphic designer. So during that time, like the latter half of college, and once I started working, I kind of forgot about photography. It was always there, but I was really more of a graphic designer, and I only got into it again around 2017. So I found my dad's old film camera and started taking pictures with that. And it can get pretty expensive with buying film, getting that film scanned and processed. So that's when I started taking pictures with my iPhone. So I really like shooting with my phone. I didn't feel a lot of pressure to create amazing groundbreaking images because it was just my phone. Pero masaya siya kasi it was so easy to play around and I didn't have to spend anything because there wasn't as much pressure. I think I just had fun with it and just learning to compose again, just being aware and paying attention to the things around me. And I think that's a lot of what photography is about naman. It's about paying attention. Recently, I've also been into mixed media and I started my own YouTube channel where I share snippets of my life and my work. And I've also been really using this time to recharge my creative fuel. For a while, I was relying on Instagram and Pinterest for inspiration, and that became a bad habit. Now I've been actually reading books, which it's been a while since I've done that, I'm ashamed to say. Apart from that, I've been looking into the works and lives of the great artists and photographers. If you have time and you're looking for something to do or something to learn, I highly recommend the Google Arts and Culture website. And whenever I really don't feel like being productive, because I find that there's only little I can do in each day, I play Harvest Moon because unfortunately, wala akong Switch. But I at least have run BTS, so that brings me happiness and joy every week. Okay, now that you know a little more about me and maybe trust me enough to do this with me, we can actually get started. I don't want to get too technical because I don't believe in getting too technical. I'm not a technical photographer. First things first, you're gonna need a phone, but for reference, I use an iPhone 6s Plus. And first thing you're gonna need is a fully charged battery. Make sure you have enough memory to take a bunch of photos. I always end up having to delete a bunch of stuff in the middle of shooting, and it's the most annoying thing, but it's my fault for not backing up, but also I only have 32 gig on my phone. So the first thing I really appreciate about my phone is the grid. The grid helps me know that my lines are aligned, that my horizon lines are straight, and it gives me a sense of balance. Another nice thing to have is an autofocus or auto exposure lock. So if I do this on my phone, tap and then hold, I know that the focus will lock on that specific area until I click and take the photo. Another thing I appreciate is having manual exposure. I usually like bringing my exposure down. I like having it a little bit underexposed. For one, because that's my style, I like things being a little dark and dramatic. Another, because it's easier to edit underexposed photos. Lastly, I like to take live photos with my iPhone. I don't know if other phones have this, but yeah, I use it on my own iPhone, especially when I'm shooting moving subjects. Okay, so during this process, I'm probably gonna switch between showing you my screen, my phone screen, and also showing you my point of view. So you won't be seeing me, but I'll just be talking and guiding you through how I do it myself. Another thing, by the way, if you're gonna shoot outside, might be good to wear a hat. It's so hot. Also, don't forget to hydrate. Hydration is key, y'all. Hey guys, this is voiceover Sara, and this is my mom's garden, where we'll be taking pictures today. The light's great, so let's start. The first thing I look out for is light and shadow. I'm really into that chiaroscuro effect, because she's a fine arts major. Anyway, I noticed this plastic bag hanging here randomly by the plant or by the tree. As you can see here, I'm making sure that I expose the photo so that nothing is overexposed, especially the mint green wall. Something else I look out for in terms of taking photos is color. I saw that these vegetables were being washed, and so I got really attracted to how colorful everything was. I also really like shiny surfaces like these because they create interesting light. The same goes for water. The water adds another dimension. I mean, look at those highlights. Mwah, chef's kiss. So after taking pictures of those vegetables, I saw this wall, this corner, and I thought it was really interesting how the shadows from the trees were cast on the wall, and I thought I'd do something with it. So here I put the veggies, and I just kept it pretty minimal. So negative space creates a lot of drama in the photo, and it also gives the viewer space to breathe. Composition wise, I'm making sure that the vertical line is centered, that it's perfectly straight, so that it's a leading line towards the subject, which is yung balde na may gulay. I'm making sure the left and right areas are symmetrical, and this is why it's great to have a grid. The human element always seems to make things more interesting. I saw this wall, this orange wall with lots of shadows from the trees, and I figured it'd be perfect for a portrait. So I went inside the house and looked for someone who was game. So here we are. That's my dad, and I was telling him where to stand, where the shadows were. Now I don't mind that a lot of his face is dark or hidden. I think it's good to sometimes deliberately hide elements in the photo or to hide parts of your subject. It adds mystery and it gives space for the viewer's imagination. Okay, so a portrait doesn't always have to show a face. I actually love taking pictures of hands. If you see my Instagram, it's all hands, my hands. Anyway, I love taking pictures of hands because they say so much about people. Okay, so this is where the live photo function is useful. Since the subject's hands are moving, the water is moving, it's good to be able to take a lot of photos and to be able to choose a frame after. If you don't have the live photo function though, you can do the same thing with the burst function. It should work just as fine. Texture, texture, texture. Texture is a weird word. But anyway, texture is on my list. So it's something to watch out for when you're taking pictures. A lot of times you just have to look closely at things and you can create an interesting image already. When you take pictures up close like this, you can think of your frame as an abstract painting. My friend Mai, who's a food photographer, told me that before, and it really makes sense. So you see here, there's the repetition of shapes and colors, those greens, those lines. Here I added a human element by having someone hold out the chopping board with the garlic and the onions. Because the sun was so high up, you could see the shadow of my phone if I wasn't careful. I didn't even notice at first because I couldn't really see. You know that thing where it's really sunny and you can't see your screen. So yeah, I only realized after checking the photos again. Anyway, so I had to adjust and I took the photo from a 45-degree angle instead. And that worked. You feel like you don't really have interesting things to take pictures of around you? And I suggest using random objects to either make things interesting or to make a set of your own. So here are some of the things I love to use when I'm shooting. This part always involves a bit of DIY, but I think that keeps the work fun and it keeps it interesting and new all the time. So I like it. I don't think you should really overthink what you're taking pictures of or what you're making while you're making it. Just gotta let yourself get into that flow. So I know that I'm really lucky to have an outdoor space. It makes a world of a difference, and it's a privilege that not everyone has right now during the lockdown. So here's the case for shooting indoors. At specific times, the light will get through. Now, since you're home a lot, this would be the perfect opportunity to notice and to take notes. For a long time, I've noticed that we get really nice light in the living room during the afternoon because we have these big windows with striped blinds. Here, I'm shooting our staircase. When shooting spaces or interiors, it's good to be aware of the lines and shapes. In this case, I was drawn to how the vertical lines of the staircase contrast with the lines from the blinds. I also like how you see some small light leaks in various spots. Okay, so I've picked my favorites among all the photos and I've imported them into VSCO. So I'll show you how I go through the process of editing or post-processing more accurately. Since I've been using this app for so long, I have my own favorite presets to go to. And to get to this place where I have favorites and go-to presets, I went through a lot of experimentation. So my favorite preset is this. This is the Kodak Ektar one. I like how it emphasizes contrast. It kind of turns the blacks or the dark parts of the photo into bluish tones. I like to make up for that by warming up the photo. It also makes the photo greener than usual, so I'm gonna make up for that by adjusting the tint as well. So that should be okay. Let's try editing this portrait of my dad. The contrast is kind of crazy, so I'm gonna lessen that by maybe lessening the strength of the preset, bringing exposure down, because a lot of the highlights are blown out, just like that. And then making up for that by raising the shadows here. Not too much, because I still like the shadows a lot. Like that. So now that we've post-processed our photos, I'm gonna go on and use this app called Unfold. I enjoy using this app just to lay out my photos in a way that I'd like to present them. I try not to overthink this process either, but a rule of thumb for me is varying the sizes and the layouts. So yeah, I think you can also just have fun with these, but just for the sake of doing this quickly, I think I'm fine with this. Okay, so that's it. I hope you had fun and I hope you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions that I didn't address today, just comment below. If you're inspired to make something, do share it with us. I want to see what you come up with. Stay safe, you guys. I'll see you soon.